Not quite St. Patrick's Day yet, but as you can imagine, the partying is underway. The Golden Ace Inn on Washington Street is the oldest Irish bar in Indianapolis. A two-day celebration kicked off tonight. It's a busy party weekend because of the holiday and the NCAA tournament. And police are on alert. Local and state law enforcement are ramping up DUI checkpoints this weekend.
Usually we say we're going to have a lot of officers out. This may be the most officers we've ever had out. We are planning for this, and we will be able to, whatever challenge comes this weekend, I'll have manpower to take care of it.
So keep this in mind. IMPD Sergeant Mike Duke says St. Patrick's Day has become one of the busiest days of the year for those checkpoints.
Breaking tonight, more turnover in the Trump administration, the high-rank official that's out, and the fallout that would follow.
Not again. United Airlines with yet another pet problem. The issue that forced a jet full of people to unexpectedly land hundreds of miles away from the final destination.
Purdue basketball won and lost today. The team will have to navigate the rest of the NCAA tournament without its biggest player, and Butler on the horizon.
And all eyes on the thermometer for tomorrow morning, but looking beyond that, we're in a cold pattern. But for how long? We'll take a look.
Dodge Jeep Ram.
The only name you need to know.
From the only station working for you, this is RTV6 News at 11.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions says he has fired the former deputy director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, was a frequent target of the president.
And the firing was announced about an hour ago and comes 2 days before he was set to retire. ABC's Serena Marshall has details.
With only 2 days until his retirement, the former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe fired. The decision left to Attorney General Jeff Sessions following an Inspector General's office finding he allowed FBI officials to speak with a reporter about the Clinton Foundation probe and then misled investigators who asked him about it. Just yesterday, McCabe arrived at the Department of Justice to plead with a senior official to not fire him before his planned Sunday retirement day. McCabe first made headlines following the firing of FBI Director James Comey. Suddenly becoming the acting director of the FBI, he denied a White House claim that because of James Comey, morale was low.
No, sir, that is not accurate. The vast majority of FBI employees enjoyed a deep and positive connection to Director Comey.
For months, the career FBI official was faced with the president's wrath. FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe is racing the clock to retire with full benefits. 90 days to go, the president tweeted, his pension stripped away after 22 years with the Bureau. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Washington.
And immediately after his firing, McCabe released a statement to ABC saying his termination was an attack on his credibility and part of the Trump administration's ongoing war with the FBI and the Mueller investigation. Now stay with RTV6 and ABC News as this story continues to develop.
And due at 11, a convicted killer sentenced to 141 years for a 1991 murder in Delaware County will soon be released from prison. The Muncie Star-Press reports a judge granted 44-year-old Matthew W. Stidham's release for good behavior, saying that his transformation in prison has been remarkable. Stidham was found guilty of the death of Daniel Barker. Barker was stabbed 47 times before his body was thrown into the Mississinawa River. Also new tonight, new details coming in about a deadly shooting outside a Northside Indianapolis funeral home. Metro Police say that 19-year-old Robert S. Dew of Indianapolis is suspected of gunning down Byron Frierson. He later died at a local hospital. Investigators say that Frierson was looking for Dew as part of his job as a bail bondsman when that shooting happened.
More pet problems for United Airlines. It diverted a flight after learning a dog was mistakenly put on the plane. The flight was headed to St. Louis from Newark last night. The airline dropped off the dog in Akron, Ohio, where the owner picked it up. This is the third reported pet-related mishap for United just this week. It accidentally flew a dog to Japan, and a puppy died when a flight attendant put it in the overhead bin.
CSX Transportation saying it's working to adjust its schedules after reports of stopped trains making kids late for school. Joe Krong with Anderson Community Schools says bus drivers have been delayed at least 1 day a week during the morning pickup, sometimes as long as 45 minutes. It's forcing drivers to reroute, which leads to a domino effect.
Depending on how late they are, they may or may not have missed breakfast, and some of our kids don't eat unless they're at school. They eat breakfast, they eat lunch, and they don't eat again until breakfast the next day.
We got a response from CSX. They tell RTV6 its operations team is working on adjusting schedules. It's not clear exactly when that will happen.
The Department of Public Works is switching gears tonight. Crews are out right now salting roads to prevent slick conditions. Pre-treating will continue through the morning. And DPW continues to make progress on pothole patching, but for many drivers, the damage is already done. Bob and Karen Whalen say a pothole on South High School Road damaged their car. The repairs cost almost $800. Like hundreds of others, they filed a claim with the city and were denied.
You expect potholes, to do some damage. This was more like a small lake. It was just outrageous. And since I followed all the directions, I thought for sure that there's no way they could deny this.
Now, the denial letter said the city did not have enough notice to fix the pothole, but the Department of Public Works tells RTV6 there has been an open service request for that pothole since January 31st, 2 weeks before it damaged Whalen's car. The Whalens want to know what more could they have done to get their claim approved. The city denied RTV6's request to answer that question, but we will continue to ask. And remember, you can report potholes by calling the Mayor's Action Center at 317-327-4622.
And of course, the pending weather will not make things any better as we go back into this sort of freezing, thawing situation.
Hence our pothole situation.
You've got it. So at some point we want to see just the thaw. And then temperatures.
We welcome the thaw. Do you have any good news on the horizon?
No. Even if you, if you were using a magnifying glass on the 7-day forecast, you won't find that. As far as our icing potential, 2 a.m. to about 10 a.m. from Indianapolis north, temperatures will be marginal. In other words, right at freezing, maybe just a little bit below. I think the warm ground will help out a little bit. But generally from Crawfordsville down through to Lebanon, Zionsville, Carmel, Fishers to Greenfield, just on the north side of the metro area and north, the most likely spot to see the freezing rain. And there is your advisory in effect until mid-morning, as we mentioned. Temperatures do come above freezing by about 10 a.m. and that will start to change any slippery conditions into just wet roads. 34 in Fishers, 40 in Indy, 41 in Terre Haute. Once the rain starts in the southwest, we'll get what we call evaporational cooling, and you'll see these temperatures drop off more, come close to that freezing mark. Here we are at 5 o'clock in the morning. See all the 32s on the board in the pink? That would be your freezing rain. As this pushes to the north and east, temperatures through 7 a.m. at or slightly below freezing. That will be probably the more critical time in this 5 to about 9 a.m. window. If you can delay things just a bit in the morning, then you'll have a little better time, I think, on the roads. First half of the weekend, definitely the questionable half. St. Patrick's Day, quite cool, 40 degrees. That's our high temperature with the showers through the afternoon. Sunday, much more comfortable, 54, and that comes with sunshine. As we mentioned, you've got your morning mix from freezing rain to rain, 36 with a few showers still around, and only 40 your St. Patrick's Day high temperature. Don't forget, we'll mix in some wet snow with this. 10 o'clock to 1, there are the light rain showers in central Indiana. Still a few lingering between 4 and 7. The clearing line to the north setting the stage for what will be the better looking Sunday. Hourly temperatures tomorrow climb maybe above the 40-degree mark south of Indy, definitely above 50 degrees on Sunday. And this comes with sunshine. It's one of the best days in the short-term forecast because even though we're mild Monday, back to a chance for rain and mixing with snow as we go into a colder Tuesday. Said this before, it's not a bold statement. We are far more likely to have snow before we see temperatures in the 60s once again.
At this point of the year, I'm going to just say boo.
Boo-hoo.
Only because, it's time.
I know.
It's time to change. Winter, say goodbye. Kevin, you have a good weekend.
Too.
I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah.
Sports.
That's it.
Brad Brown and sports.
Get it warm
We still
for
love
May.
you, Kev.
Get it warm for May.
There you
That's
go.
it. We'll start thinking
Not
ahead
your
on that
forecast.
already.
No rain. No rain in May.
Though. March is about the hoops, and we got the Bulldogs and the Boilers moving on, but there will be one big piece of that puzzle missing on Sunday. We'll explain coming up.
For the people.
Nobody else to turn to.
Thanks for joining us here on your Friday evening. We hear it all the time in the month of March. Play the game that's in front of you and play the team that's on the court. Purdue now has a huge gap to fill with Isaac Haas out for the season, but the Boilermakers certainly have the guys to keep their run going. Sluggish start today against Cal State Fullerton. Only 20 points scored in the first 16 minutes for Purdue, but Carson Edwards got going late in the first half. 13 points before the break. Purdue managed a 9-point lead at halftime. In the second, Boilers offense starts